Hey everybody, today I'm showing you Mandarin operating system, and this is their version M5. So what you see is this is our elementary school, the librarian, the main page that our librarian uses. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is setting up patron types and then designators. So what you want to do when you first start your patron types is go to groups. And you will see already Mandarin comes with patron types, administrators, faculty, librarians, student. Those are the main ones that come with the program. When you're ready to create a new patron type, you select patron group, that they're going to be using the library. This group type. Then you just select new. So then you'll see new patron group. So let's just say you wanted to have the student teachers in the building. You wanted to be able to give them access to the materials in your library. So let's make a patron group for them. So new patron group 1. So I'm going to choose the edit. So I'm going to put here that they are student teachers. Because I don't know about your school, but we have tons of student teachers every year. And then you could add a description if you wanted to. Tells it's created by the administrator of the system. Now this is pretty important. If you know that they're only going to be there for 5 to 6 months, which is a typical time for student teachers, then you could actually put in that they have 5 months of their car. So that way, after their period is over, then they no longer have access to the system. So then there's all sorts of designators that you can add. Circulation blocks. You can block and see if there's anything, for example, override privilege blocks. That's where, if you have so many books checked out, so you might want to check that so that they don't check out like 30 books. You can do circulation limits, how many that they can limit, how many they can reserve or put on hold. Access to the circulation, what they can see, what information that they can get or is available to them. Their OPAC access, and this is where the interlibrary loan you would need to check if you were going to allow them access to OPAC and to do that. Cataloging access, these are the records that they can look at. If you want them to be able to override certain things, that means if they check out 30 of something, you want them to be able to override it. Now this is where you would put in, if you, we're going to add a member in a second, but you could actually put them in here to patron group 1 if you could find. But if you already had someone in the system and you wanted to move them over, you could do that here. And then let's see, utilities. That's just basically if you want them to be able to do any of these things like help with the inventory or generate reports. And then this one is group access. So groups with shared access, these are the main ones that come with Mandarin. So you could check if you wanted them in the same category as faculty, then that would be okay. Okay, so after you've done that, you're going to hit OK, and that'll save them. And now you want to, actually let's go back and student teachers, I don't know why it didn't save. Okay, so there we are. So there's our student teachers category. We've added that in as a new group, as a new patron type. So designators, and we went through and you saw all the different designators that you could check for your patron groups. The next thing we're going to do is create a patron record. So you're going to go to circulation. And circulation, it's very simple. Under loan, patron, select action, create a new patron record. For a new patron record. So let's say we were we wanted a new student teacher was coming in. So we could add their first and last name, their address, their city, all that information. Now, this would be the same that you would put in for a student, their email, location, room number, and then you could put in their teacher or advisor, the grade they're doing, year of graduation. That would be beneficial if they're like only going to be here for 5 months. This is where you put in their barcode number, their library number. If they want to have a password on their account, you could do that here. You can change a password or add a password. And then, very important, the expiration. And then to assign them to a different group, and this is where you had made a group so that the groups are administrators, faculty, librarians, media clerk, students, or student teachers, and you could save them as the new. And I had started one, but I'll just go back and take it off. So that is how to create patron records. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is how to import patron records. So before importing patron records, be sure that the patron group you plan to import the records into has already been created under the group editor. So if you wanted to import all your student teachers into the student teacher group, then just make sure you've already created that first. Mandarin 5 allows you to import bibliographic, holding, and patron records formatted in 3 different types of data. You've got the MARC records, or delimited records, in which each field ends with or is delimited by a particular character, such as a comma or a tab, and then or fixed width records, in which each field has a designated maximum width in number of characters. During this import procedure, despite which of the 3 data types applies to the records to be imported, the records are mapped into a MARC record format. This is necessary as M5 is designated to operate exclusively with MARC records to provide optimum performance. So we're going to click on Catalog, the drop down, and Cataloging Tools. This is going to display the import page. You're going to select the table that you choose, which one you would like to do. So either bibliographic, patron, or holding records. So patron is what we're doing. And then if you've already uploaded them, they're going to be there already. If not, you're going to need to browse for them. It'll open up your browsing options. So choose which file you want, and then you would hit open. At that point, you would click upload and click the import link to the right of the barcode file. So when it's finished, you would just hit next. When wanting to update or edit a patron record, you would start by, on your home screen, your librarian home screen, you would first type in the name of the patron. So I'm just going to type myself in that you were looking to edit. Patrons are going to come up that match. So here's my patron record. So I'm going to click Edit to edit this record. This displays the basic record editor with record data. This is where you can go in and add anything that you would like to, or make. This is the advanced editor. To use the basic editor, you can go in and put in the information there that you'd like to edit or update. Now, if you are ready to delete a patron record, you need to mark for deletion, and then also the purge record, and then save, and that would completely delete a record. Our next thing we're going to talk about is how to assign a password and also patron numbers. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with going to your circulation and selecting action, create a new patron record. So whenever you're creating a new patron, down here at the bottom is where you would put in their patron number, their barcode number, and then also it gives you the option of creating a password for them if they would like a password, and then also an expiration for their account. This is really good if you have student teachers in the building, or if you have students that are, finishing one grade and they're moving on to a different school. When students want to reserve materials online, they first can start by selecting which library. In our case, we just have the one library at our primary school, so we're not connected to the other schools in the system. But if we were, they would be listed here. Let's say they were looking for Cinderella. Do a search. And then if you have it available, once they've clicked on the title that they would like to reserve or look at, if it was already checked out, then what they could do is they could click this reserve button, and that would actually put it in the system to flag, so that way it would reserve it for them when it gets checked back in. With an interlibrary loan, that's like I was explaining before, if we were connected to other libraries in our system, then we could, if this book was checked out in our library or we didn't have it, then we could select ILL, or the students could also select ILL, and you would, let me sign in right quick, for some reason it has me signed out. So we could select reserve for reserving a book, but then interlibrary loan, we could select that, and it would, we'd have to select the actual book. So we can reserve it, or we can also interlibrary loan. Which lending library, this is just our library, and then it would come up with the library's email that would lend it and when we need it by. This is also great if teachers are looking for specific books to teach lessons, and it may be available at another library in the system. We're a smaller system, so we only have 4 schools, and being a primary school, our students don't we don't do the interlibrary loans with our students. But reserves could be something that I think would be beneficial for adding to the program for next year, because there's definitely books that come through and students want to read them, but they're always checked out. This has been my overview of the Mandarin operating system M5 on setup, reserves, and then interlibrary loan. Thank you so much.